And we are live again today, and we are going to be talking to Evan and possibly Josh
Yep.
from Cotton Branch Sanctuary in South Carolina. And just so you know, we're big supporters of all the sanctuaries across the country, and we will be highlighting a bunch of them through our live feeds. And what they're doing is incredibly important, which I think you gathered from our conversation with Lisa from Sweet Bear Rescue. And Evan was a big part of that conversation because he was on the chat, which was
Yeah.
really cool. And he asked questions. What we ask of you before Evan tells us more about what they're doing and what struggles they have, and it'll be some interesting stuff, I'm sure. And we'd like you to ask questions. Let us know where you are. Let us know where you're from. Ask questions, what concerns you might have. Of course, one of the questions we'd love to see from you is, how can I donate? That would be amazing. So, Evan, you start. My phone is actually talking to me. So
Okay.
as we do this, so go for it.
Hey, yeah, guys. My name's Evan Costner. I am the executive director here at Cotton Branch Farm Sanctuary. We are located in Leesville, South Carolina. Most of y'all don't know where that is, but it's basically near Columbia, about southwest of Columbia. And we specialize mainly in pigs, typically potbelly pigs, farm pigs, and every other pig in between. Um, and we have a lot of education and a lot of different things surrounding that particular initiative and program. We also have other farm animals like cows, chickens, ducks, goats, donkeys, horses, and we have been doing a lot, and I'll talk about this later a little bit more. But we've done a lot of large scale rescues and different hoarding cases that dealt with pigs specifically. So that's in a nutshell kind of what we do, who we are. We were founded in 2004 by Jan Alberson. She actually had a background in wildlife rescue, and she founded, with a group of some other people, Carolina Wildlife Center in Columbia. And after she spent about 15 years there, she quote unquote retired, and she didn't realize that she was going to start a farm sanctuary after she quote unquote retired. And back in 2004, she kind of first started out with pigs, and she thought she was going to stick with pigs, and then some goats came along, and then some other animals came along, and she was doing it a lot by herself. And so she had maybe a couple of volunteers help her out for going on 10 years. And handling, back then, she only had about 100 animals, but that's 100 animals for one person and the occasional two volunteers. So it was definitely a huge passion project for her, and it was very difficult. So whenever we got involved back 5 years ago, me and my husband Josh, we knew pigs. We had a pig, and we came to go see Cotton Branch. We lived in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time, and when we got here, we were like, "Wow, this is crazy! Like, I cannot believe she's doing this all." And after like talking with her and hearing these stories of these animals that she rescued, I remember getting in my car and looking to Josh, and I said, "She needs help. How can we help her?" And so then, ever since then, we started volunteering almost every weekend. We would do fundraisers, and then one thing led to another, and me and Josh, joined the board. And Jan wanted to retire, and we had a discussion as a board, and me and Josh were like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's learn as much as we can. And it's great because we were so blessed. A lot of people don't have like a mentor when they're first starting out with farm sanctuaries, and like trying to know what medication to give and what behavior does this, if this animal exhibits this particular behavior, what does that mean? Is it positive? Is it negative? What is it? And so we were so blessed to actually have that type of mentorship for years, until she finally decided to retire last year. So um, it's been a wild ride. I mean, to say the least. But I love it, and this is exactly where I need to be, where my family needs to be, and I just have um, I met so many people here, and so many great human beings that actually believe in the mission. It's just been wonderful.
Oh, I know. I really want to touch on something that you brought up is that the initiatives that you've helped with the pig rescues, you two have kind of spearheaded saving not just like 100 pigs, not just 200 pigs. We're going at 600 plus.
Yeah,
And you vetted everybody
yeah,
who potentially wanted to adopt one of these pigs that were in a hoarding situation.
yeah.
And just please share more about that because what you've done, and I think you continue to do, because that's not done yet, right?
No, it's not. I mean, our first kind of foray into this massive scale of an operation was in Kentucky back in 2018, where there was 550 pigs that were inbreeding, and they were just in a terrible condition, malnourished. Some had ailments. Many were pregnant, and we thought. I mean, I'll tell you all this. Me and Jay from Ziggy's Refuge and
Mhm.
everybody at Ziggy's, we had a conversation one night, and we were talking about this case, and we just thought, hey, let's just go in there, see who we can save. 20, 30 animals, because that's at that time we were thinking that's just the capacity that we could do. And then as things kind of went on and we actually went up there to see it, we were like, whoa, I can't leave all of these pigs here. Like they're in terrible shape. And our team agreed, and a lot of the coalition members that we organized and helped get together agreed. And we started going nonstop, straight up with vet care, coordinating with probably 8 different vets office in that area to try to get them number one healthy, and try to get them without any type of ailments that they have been suffering for years. And that was huge because we had to coordinate transport across the country and trying to talk to sanctuaries that I knew nothing about. And I'm so thankful that even though I hate that this happened, I was able to meet a lot of great friends in the rescue community who felt the same way that I did. Like, we're not going to turn our backs on them. And so we coordinated a very large effort. We had groups of 10 go out. We had groups of 5 go out. And after we got the sanctuaries adoptions out, we started switching gears to private adoptions. And so, with the help of some press and with the help of the media, we were able to really get about, I think the number was about around 3,500 applications for these pigs. Now, our application rate, was not in the thousands. I mean, our adoption rate was not in thousands. It was close to maybe 10% of that, if that. And so, because we vet them, we had a team of 20 people at one point going through all of these applications, and hitting specific benchmarks like, are you zoned correctly? Do you have the space necessary? Do you have the fencing? Do you have a vet nearby? Do you have any references? And each person was assigned to that particular check. So, as the operation kind of went on, um, winter was coming, and their living conditions, they would not survive winter. So we made a decision to move the remaining 225 down to Cotton Branch in South Carolina. We did that with a truckload a trailer loads and trailer loads of
Yep.
pigs, and did like 3 trips constantly going back and forth. And when they came down here, we did some additional vet care, and now we're down to about 100. So now we have just 100 left. I know that sounds weird when I say just 100, but compared to the
Right.
whole operation, it's been great. And they've been getting socialized, they've been getting love, they've been getting attention. Many are so ready to go to their new forever homes. And so after this pandemic is kind of under control, or however you want to frame it, we're going to be kicking back into it and making sure they get their homes.
That's wonderful. That is like absolutely amazing because I was on the phone with some of this, and I know you also got some. You had some issues with the people that you denied because
Yeah.
one thing that you didn't mention in your list was having the funds
Yeah.
to care for the animals, which is
Yeah.
also incredibly important. Without having to fundraise to care for the animals, we all understand that the fundraising is a big part of sanctuary life. Totally get it. Dogs, cats, pigs, chickens, everybody, right?
Yeah.
But you can't, and we discussed this with Lisa. We can bring it up here because you agreed. Is that you can't? One, you shouldn't start a sanctuary unless you have the land, the finances, the ability to do it without having to ask the public for everything that you need.
Yes.
Two, you have to only take on what you can handle,
Yes.
what you can manage, even though I mean, I'm sure you weren't expecting or anticipating to take on 250 pigs,
No.
but I also believe that you took them on with the understanding that one, they were going to go to future homes, two, they were going to be better when they get to those future homes,
Yeah.
and three, you wouldn't have done it if you couldn't handle it,
Yeah.
right?
And absolutely. And, we have a good team here in South Carolina, and you bring up a very good point about funding, and with anything, whether that be a large scale or small scale or whatever, or just starting out, um, you know, you have to, and a lot of people, what's the best way to say this? A lot of people think with their heart and not with their head. And they really have a hard time handling the business side of things, because yes, we are a nonprofit, yes, we are mission based, and yes, our decisions are not predicated on the almighty dollar, but we have to consider it,
Yeah.
because if we don't consider it, it's going to hit our mission, it's going to hit the well-being of these animals. And so, I mean, with the operation itself, with funding, we made it very clear. We had a separate organization just doing the finances. That's all they did. Cotton Branch was just doing all logistics, and this other organization was doing rescue, and like everyone had a specific role, and that worked well. And I think if you want to bring it kind of internally into more of a smaller operation, you need somebody, you need an accountant, you need a
Yeah.
you need a board of directors, you need people who believe in the mission as much as you do. Because if you don't, it's going to be an ineffective board, an ineffective organization, and you're not going to be around for that much longer. You need to find passionate people who believe in your mission as just as much as you do.
Yes. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people think nonprofit, they don't think business, whereas it's a corporation.
Yep.
We are a business. We are an altruistic business. However, we are a business that needs to raise funds, that has bills. Even when the income stops coming in or there's a pandemic going on, we still have bills that have to get paid that we need to do something with. A CPA, we have one. Thankfully, he's a saint because he's not getting paid right now and he's still helping us. So I'm very fortunate that we have that relationship to keep moving forward. And he knows that when money starts coming back in, I will throw money at him as best as I can. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how are the donations right now? I can imagine.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we expected, because we looked at some data from 2008, from specifically farm animal rescues,
Mhm.
because that is the only event in recent memory that we could look to and say, okay, we can see an economic catastrophe that's coming. What kind of percentages are we looking at? And so what we came up with is that there will be at least a 20% dip in one-time giving donations. Monthly donors, it's not really clear, but you will definitely see at least 10%, depending on your area and how hard hit your area is economically. So that's the kind of numbers that we were expecting, and that's what we were planning on. It may be worse than that. We don't know, but I think everybody who's in the nonprofit world needs to kind of expect that dip, and not, because think about it, your donors are unemployed. I mean, they like, most of them are losing their jobs, and so it's hard for them now to use expendable income to support your mission, and so you have to account for that. So we have seen a dip. Um, Thankfully, we've been getting very creative with
Yeah.
how we raise money lately, to try to supplement that decline. But it's a reality that a lot of everyone is facing right now.
Yes, I agree. I'm trying to continue my monthly donations. You're one of them, right?
Thank you.
So yes, the refuge, the Piedmont Farm Animal Refuge is another. Roxanne with North Carolina Farm Animal Save is another that I donate to monthly from Triangle Vegfest. And I am and my dog's making noise. I'm so sorry. Yeah, he's yeah. So I'm trying to keep those going, even though I don't have money coming into the nonprofit. We're all trying to pivot to do something to make things work, and I want to continue to be able to donate to all of you monthly because I know I don't want to have to send that message to either any of you to be like, I'm sorry. And of course, if I'm going to cut back on those donations, which one of you
Yeah,
am I not going to give the money to? Because you all need it in one way or another for everything that you're doing.
yeah,
So I I just kind of just let them ride. I was like, well, you know what? It's a nonprofit. That's part of the reason that it exists. And I kind of have a faith that we'll get through this.
yeah.
Maybe slightly naive, maybe,
I think
but
we will. I
I
really think we
am,
will.
yeah,
It's just may not. I think the everyone keeps saying the new normal. That's like the catchphrase lately. But
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of true. There will be a new normal that all of us will have to be adjusting to, and we will get out of it. It's going to be different in my opinion. So,
Yes. Yeah, I believe that too. I want to be able to I want to be able to come there because, I haven't yet.
yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that point. I figured it would probably be this spring. But and
Yeah.
it's been a beautiful spring. But it just, that's not going to happen.
Mm,
So, but I look forward to that time where I see that blue wall, in person and get to meet all the animals because it's absolutely it's an incredible experience to be around the animals. And I believe I'm a fan of Ren Hurst. I don't know if you know who Ren Hurst is. She's out on the West Coast. She's
mm,
a big fan of letting the animals be,
yeah.
and if they want to come to you, they can come to you. I don't need food to coax them to me. They make the decision when they want to have the relationship. Obviously, you care for them and all that, but I truly believe that if I can stand in a place and the animals naturally, energy wise, will come over, then they've made that choice to
Hmm.
come over and see me or have me pet them or have me engage in them in any manner that
Yeah.
they feel comfortable with, because that's all they have is the beings that they are,
Yeah.
is that, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
before we went live, we were talking about their new business venture,
Yep.
which is going to be absolutely wonderful and amazing when it does happen, because having, obviously it's a great thing to have run a sanctuary and have an extended business that will support and feed the sanctuary. And you are just about to do what?
I was just about to open a bar in our little small town of Leesville. Now, Leesville is actually two towns into one. It's called Batesburg, Leesville. Batesburg is like a half mile down the road with its own main street, and then you have Leesville with its own main street. It's only like a block, but it's still like the people are so nice, and so we bought the place from someone who wanted to get out, and we were very close to pulling the trigger because I mean we were looking at remodeling some things and putting up digital signage and different logos and inventory, which was the big one. And we were looking at March, and right when mid March happened, we were like, wait, we got to put the brakes on this, and we had to just step away. And I mean, obviously, we still have bills that we have to pay on that, but um, it's we expect and hope by June this will be off the ground. Our community knows a lot, everybody. So I get messages on my Facebook, and they're like, "Hey, when are you opening up? When is this happening?"
We're gonna get a drink.
Yeah, yeah. And so we say it's a wine and beer bar, and I mean, we thankfully we didn't purchase inventory beforehand, so that was a blessing. But we were excited, and it's called Homeland. And it's Homeland Craft Beer and Wine, and we're going to be focusing more on our local breweries. There's breweries in Columbia, in Charlotte, and also in Greenville. So,
Oh, awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. And what's your vision for that? Like, if when it opens, like, what do you see? What do you see happening with it? What I know I know you've already thought future forward. I know that. So I'm kind of like, well, do you want to share like what you see and like
Yeah.
what will percentages or how it will help the sanctuary and all that. So that's it.
Yeah. By law in South Carolina, we can only give 50% of our profits,
Okay.
which is going to happen. So basically, the bar will be supporting the sanctuary, and just like Josh's business and my own personal one, that it's the same way. We still give to the farm, we still help out, and we still make sure that our contribution reflects what we put in. So, but that's where we see this being a conscious company that's pulling in vegan people from Colombia that make vegan chocolates. I have someone who makes vegan chocolates, and I already reached out like, hey, I want your vegan chocolates in our place. I want a wine and vegan chocolate night.
Mhm.
And then I also reached out to some other chefs, and I'm like, hey, can you make some prepackaged food, and let's introduce my rural town to some really nice vegan snacks and vegan food. So that's where we're looking forward. We're really trying to create space for these artisans and these people who are trying to get off the ground themselves, and give them a platform, give them somewhere to go and say, you know what, I'm in Homeland, and let's see if they can get into somewhere else and start spreading that vegan message and vegan food around. So it's twofold: sanctuary, veganism.
Yes, that's awesome. That's actually really, really cool. Just a reminder to everyone that's watching is you can ask questions, you can make comments. We are more than happy to answer them. I know that Evan can share pretty much anything that you have, any questions you have about any farm animal possible. So you can totally do that. We would love to hear from you. So you can ask away in the comments section.
Yep.
But let's see. So tell us about the animals. What
Yeah.
are they like? For
Yeah.
someone who's watching this who's never met a pig or a chicken or anybody, right? So, because once again, we refer to these animals as he, she, and bodies, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they're living beings. So, remind everyone of that. It's a little thing that I learned when I started doing education is that we don't refer to the animals as it because they are
Yes.
actually he's and she's are actually living beings that when we assign the he and she and them, then people actually hear that and register that it's not like a phone, which
Yeah.
is an it, right? Or your car, which some people do he she cars, but your car is an it. When you have a heart and blood running through you, you are a living being. So
Yes.
he and she matters.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. And I think for me, especially for the animals here at the farm, I mean, they all have there is a commonality, and of course, the species are different. Their behaviors are different, and the way that they talk and the way that they express themselves is different. But there is a commonality amongst all of them: is that they can experience love, they can experience pain, they can experience some of the same emotions that we have as human beings. And so, um, one thing I would want to mention about pigs, and specifically, is that they're extremely emotional, and you can tell they have body language, and they have different grunts and different squeals and different things that mean specific things. Like I'll give you an example. I have a pig here named Callie. She is a kuni kuni pig, so she's not technically a potbelly. Um, the way that she expresses herself is incredible. Like I would go down and sit down in her paddock, her area, and she would come up, she would sniff me, she would make this small little grunt noise, and then walk away. Like it was like, I acknowledge that you're here, you're cool, bye. I'm gonna go chew on something real quick. So that's, I mean, and then you look at the potbelly where they're much more temperamental. And for those watching, if you have a potbelly pig, you know what I'm talking about. They scream for attention. They want that belly rub. They want that affection. They if the pig, if you had like 8 hours of your day with one pig, the pig will let you pet them for 8 hours because they want it. They want that affection, and it's just like it's the commonality. They feel that, and other animals feel that. I mean, the same thing with our cow Nicholas. He loves people, and whenever you come up to him and put your arm around him, and you have his head right here, he just sits there contently, and just like he enjoys that affection, and he enjoys that love. And so, a lot of the animals are like that. I mean, that I think the only species that we have here that are kind of not like that, which we're working on, are our chickens. Since we are a little bit of free range type of situation here, they're not as socialized, but they get very close to you, and they look at you, and they inspect who you are, and they know that you're not going to hurt them. They're not running away from you. So, but I think there's so many stories I can tell and so many things I could say about them, because I mean they're my family. I mean, like I can consider all 300 of them my family, and all of them have names, all of them have different personalities, and it's crazy. Like, I'll, I'll say this: we had a storm last night, and pigs don't like storms. And so this morning it was like raining really bad, and I went out and I tried to, talk to some of the pigs near the front of our house. Oh my gosh, they were whining and like pretty much telling me, "This is awful. Please make it stop raining." Like, it's just like you could tell, like they wanted to get out of their house, they wanted to like explore, and yeah, I mean, there's just so much I can tell, but they're just amazing, amazing beings, and worthy of our love, and worthy of life, for sure.
That's so cool. I mean, I have three dogs and two cats, and it gets a little wild in the house because they all have their personalities, right? Not 200 plus. And
Yeah.
I mean, I have spoken to Jay at Ziggy's, and I joked about that. I also talked to Jay at the Gentle Barn, and they joked about that too. I was like, this is enough. I
Yep.
was like, what you're doing is on a scale that is way more than I can handle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's five pets in the house, three humans. That's
Yeah.
enough. It's enough of a food bill, like I can't
Yeah.
imagine. Like the
Yeah.
food bill for you guys must be,
It's crazy. I
yeah.
think we're at, let me see. I think we're right at 2,000 a week. So,
2000 a week. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. That's a lot more than I spend.
So yeah, it's a lot.
So, what do you do outside of this? Let's share. You mentioned you have another business. I know it's
Yeah.
very similar to stuff that I do.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
It's pretty similar. I mean, it's a media company, and I work. I at the beginning of it, I was working with a lot of nonprofits, but since the pandemic happened, I needed to kind of shift my focus a little bit, um, and I had to let everyone know, hey, I have to look out for Cotton Branch right now, guys. I'm going to have to pause this service for you, and I switched over to a lot of my for-profit clients, and kind of help them out, but always being available for everybody. Um, but yeah, I work with social media. I work with websites. I work with fundraising plans, um, pretty much messaging, how to get your message out to the appropriate audience. So it's basically just a media company meant for mission based, either for profits or nonprofits.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's been hard because of the work that I was doing was related to colleges, and the colleges are closed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, my hope is that it'll come back if colleges go back in the fall,
Yeah.
but we don't know. So we pivot into what we can do because that's all we can do.
Yep.
Because Josh has a hair salon,
Yep.
right? So I mean,
Yeah.
that's
And he, I mean, like the state forbade him from even doing anything. So I mean,
right,
he can, if he wanted to go to work, he couldn't.
right.
Excuse me. But yeah, like he's just waiting for the order from the governor in North Carolina, since his salon is in North Carolina, and
Yep.
as soon as he knows, he's going to start figuring out, okay, what does it look like to cut hair while also practice social distancing?
Right. Wearing a mask.
Yeah, wearing a mask or having those
Yeah.
little garter shears like that are like trying to cut hair
What
from
a
6
different
feet
way to
behind.
cut hair.
So
It's
yeah.
really funny. Or like a selfie pole for a buzzer.
Yep.
So that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I bet you he's gonna do that the first day just to freak out his clients because he's like that.
Right, but doesn't he have a line of shampoos and stuff?
Yeah, all vegan
Right?
line of all of his products are vegan. So
Mm-hmm.
right down to the dyes and the everything. So it's called Reference of Sweden, and it's just a exclusive line that he's carrying, and he's actually I'm gonna plug his business too. He's actually
Mm-hmm.
gonna be doing an online store with those products soon. I'm working, helping him with, make it happen. So that'll be coming up as well.
That's where I was going,
Yeah.
actually. My next question was, is he selling those products for the people that have been using them or the people that may want to use them? And of course, I know you're interested in virtual Vegfest
Yes.
so that we can get the cotton branch like inventory and whatever
Yeah.
you have to sell onto the virtual Vegfest. And then he can also get his hair product lines onto there too,
Yeah.
which would be really cool because it'll be the one-stop shop place where people can buy stuff 24/7 that's all vegan.
Yep.
So it's and help and support obviously sanctuaries, and it goes as far as the people can set up appointments on there or do live demos. It's pretty cool. It's obviously morphing, and we're working on it.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I'm excited to see how that would look because I mean, like, it's a festival, and I mean, the whole idea is to bring people in one spot. So it's like, okay, how do you do that online? So I'm very interested in how that would look, because I mean, man.
Yeah, well, we're taking it a little bit different than it actually being. So a lot of vendors are writing or contacting and saying, "What day is it?" And it's
Mhm.
every day. It's 24/7. It is basically going to be a spot where people can come and shop whenever they want,
Oh,
and they can
nice.
have access to the vendors whenever they want. And then we're adding into that these live videos, which are all on there so people to watch them. And I want to add live music at some point.
Very
So that
cool.
could be either live on the website where you come and listen to the music. Every Veg Fest this year was going to have live music, typically local. Nashville never had live music. It's Nashville.
Yeah.
We have some incredible live
Yeah.
music lined up for the event that is now in November and hopefully will happen. But if it doesn't, we will obviously do it next year. But it would be cool to reach out to all these people and say, let's go live,
Yeah.
play your music because people are doing that. And so kind of having a feel, you'll never to be able to replicate the energy of in person.
Yeah.
It just won't. It'd be like, here, look at the cute pig. You'd be like, oh, look at the cute. Okay, that's great. But it's never the same as the energy as you would have from actually interacting in person with the animals and the humans. But
Yeah.
at least you can help the vendors survive,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the key thing is is helping everybody. I'm a big believer that we need to help one another through this. And
Yeah.
if we don't do that, then it won't work. It's not an I. It's an us, we thing, right?
Yep.
We. So no,
Yeah.
we have to take care of one another, especially those who need more, and then the ones that have more can take care of those who need less. It's not a difficult concept. It just seems to be difficult for humans,
Yeah.
and that leads us in the way of our personal views should not necessarily impact donations.
Yep.
However, that did happen for you guys. Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of times people think that the founders and directors of nonprofits aren't allowed to have certain beliefs that are contrary to your own. And so, I'm outspoken. I wasn't outspoken for years, but lately I have been, simply because I've been outraged by what I've been seeing. And since I can't go out and express that outrage, I do it online like everyone else. And so, um, I think a lot of people are uncomfortable with the fact of, like an executive director of a farm sanctuary having an opinion, political in nature, that is just they don't agree with. And I think a lot of times in this country, people are not able to just accept that I disagree, and that's okay. It is totally okay to disagree. There doesn't need to be any retaliation, and it kind of goes back into cancel culture a lot of times, where it can go overboard. So I think a lot of times people, everyone in this country, and we live in America where free speech is revered. I mean, we can have opinions, and we can say things that you believe in. I'm also very concerned about gay rights because I am a gay man. So I will speak on that. I have a marriage that is intact because of a Supreme Court decision. I don't want that to be touched with. So you better believe I will be speaking out if that ever it comes against attack. So I just think people need to accept other people's beliefs and not try to say, well, just because you believe a different way, I'm going to drop support, or I'm going to take my money elsewhere. Rescue it shouldn't have politics. Um, while that may be true in some respect, you don't see our page getting political. You don't see any type of our official social media outlets become political. But I am human, and I live in America, so I can have an opinion.
yes. It's on our personal pages though.
Yeah,
You're right. I do my best to not put my political or feelings onto the nonprofits page because that needs to be more level. It needs to be
yes,
it needs to for people of any type, especially if you're not vegan,
yeah,
to feel comfortable enough to come and be there and not feel like you'll be attacked because you're not necessarily at the same place or level, if you want to put it that way,
yeah,
not in the same place as somebody else, which is okay, right?
yeah,
And for like the plant-based network, it's based on, the fun, the everyone's welcome, you're not going to be judged. A lot of times I reply to comments and I say, look, everybody's in a different place. Not
yeah,
everyone's on the same is at the same place that you are in your journey of life of veganism and plant-based, eating or living.
yeah,
And we have to be cognizant of that and not make someone feel so uncomfortable that they say, screw this. I want
yeah,
nothing to do with it.
yeah,
Right. And that's true. I mean, if you become friends with us on our personal pages, don't hold us not being like you against our nonprofits, even though
yeah,
I totally get how you would, and
yeah,
or you just don't like us. That's okay. You don't have to like us, but don't hold it. Don't do anything against my vendors because
yeah,
you don't like me. Don't not support. I mean, just because I run this thing doesn't mean that all that 100 vendors plus that are sitting in that, venue don't deserve your money for them to survive.
Yeah.
Right. And not every one of those 100 people they're not all 100% decent humans all the time, because nobody is.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
something we also have to understand is at some point in life, over the course of the years that you're going to live, you're going to be a shit. It happens.
Yeah.
Everybody does. This is not just you, me. It is every single person on this planet is never 100% perfect or nice or, or giving or not giving. We all have our stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then we kind of gravitate towards the people who accept the good and bad in all of us.
Yeah.
So I didn't like seeing that somebody stopped sending money your way because of, I know you're outspoken. I know that we haven't always agreed either. So, and that's okay, because
okay. Yeah.
we don't have to in
Yeah.
order to keep moving forward, because
Yeah.
I get when the energy goes up higher in the writing, I try to stay as even keel as possible.
Yeah.
And try not to attack when we're like if you're sitting at a keyboard, here's a little bit of advice for everybody. If you're sitting at a keyboard and you're writing something out and you're pounding away, right? Keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
You can actually read what you wrote before you hit send.
Yeah.
And you can keep reading it before you hit send. And you can edit it before you hit send.
Yeah.
But if you read that and you think, I would never want that to be written to me or about me, then don't hit send.
Yeah.
Because once it goes out into that universe, it is out there forever, whether you delete it or not, because the screenshot is king at the moment. Yeah. So, or pictures, don't put stuff out there that you don't want out there. And you have the ability to stop and think, because it's not like right now we're live talking and something can be blurted out. I can't bring that back in.
Yeah.
Right? It's harder to stop and think when you're sitting here having a conversation. But when you're typing, you have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
So please be nicer.
Yeah.
Be nicer.
Yeah. For
for
sure.
everyone, especially in our cause.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about that for hours.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah. Absolutely. It's so crazy, like that your worst critics are typically going to be your friends in rescue sometimes. But like I think, especially now, I mean, a lot of people are stressed. I mean, because we're going through something that has been unprecedented, for at least a century. And people are trying to find an outlet, trying to say what they feel. And yes, please look over. If you're angry, if you're angry typing, please look over before you hit send. Yeah. But I think a lot of people are going through some sort of like grief and trauma, and that could come across in many different ways. And so, I think give people I tell people this all the time. Like, if you're feeling down, or if you're feeling like things are just not going well in your life, take a step back and, don't go straight into social media. Don't go straight into an argument with your significant other. Quiet down the room, put your devices down, and just relax. And I mean, even though that sounds so easy, and it sounds like, oh, just relax, Evan. Seriously, it will make your headspace so much better, and things will be a lot better with mental health wise. I just think, when we talk about these things, especially during a pandemic, mental health is just so key. We got to take care of ourselves. We've got to make sure that we have time for ourselves and time with our family. I know a lot of sanctuary directors around the country are so just pushed into their mission that they forget that they need to stop and take some time and relax, put on a movie, do something to get your mind off of the stresses that's on your farm that you live, that's right outside your door. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, it's fantastic advice. I'm a big proponent of every single day you need to do something for yourself, no matter what it is. no matter what it is, every single day. I don't care how busy you are. I mean, every day, 6 festivals plus other events plus everything else, every single day.
Yep.
I will find time for myself. Deborah, we're so glad that you're here.
Oh, I
She
love
did
Deborah.
she would love the help each other attitude. You guys are great. Evan and Josh have really offered help and ideas to other sanctuaries. And that's a great segue because I know you hosted like a little sanctuary
Yeah, yeah,
get
Deborah.
together conference type thing.
Deborah was there, and it was a pleasure meeting you,
Mm-hmm.
Deborah. Thank you for coming out. I mean, it was the first time me meeting Deborah and her team out there, Blueberry Farms Lane, if I'm not mistaken, and they do great work in North Carolina. I love them. I follow them a lot, and I always check in to see what they're doing. And I also love their attitude. They're great. They're great. And I think, with the conference, what really stood out to me was everyone was just had this willingness of, okay, so what are you doing, right? Okay, you tried this didn't work out for you. So how do we modify that to make it work? And so that, when I just saw that in real time, and like people were really earnestly trying to figure out, okay, how can we make the lives of our residents better? What's the best way to do things? And yeah, Blueberry Lane Farm Animal Sanctuary. My bad, Deborah. And it was called Impact 2020. But we will be doing another one next year. It will be slightly bigger. We don't want it to get too big. We do want to have these smaller groups where we can actually talk and not have people throwing tons of questions at a podium. We really want that type of interaction. So we will still do it next year. But that really was just great. I loved every minute of it, and everyone who was there was just so focused and just ready to learn. And thankfully, we had, of course, the pig guru from Pig Preserve with us,
Afton.
with Afton,
Yep.
and I'll tell you right now, that man has more knowledge about pigs than anyone on the planet, and I have learned so much from him. And I was blessed for him to actually come to the farm and spend the night during this conference, and I was able to actually ask him questions about different things and how things worked. And he's a genius. Okay, genius level pig expert.
That is so cool. I didn't realize that he came.
Yeah, yeah,
That is actually really, I know that Lisa was there too. I
yeah.
mean, it's really important. It's really important that we all learn from one another, right? That we, especially you have a specific thing that you're doing, right? So, and you have a wealth of knowledge. And I know that you visit a lot of other sanctuaries and you offer advice, not always taken, but that's okay.
Yep.
So, but that, what you're doing, what you're offering is invaluable because I've learned a lot from talking with Lenore at the refuge.
She's great
Jean,
too. Oh
oh
man,
yeah, she's coming on next week. She's our next
great, great.
Thursday
Oh
at
my
two
God, that's
p.m.
great. I
Yes,
love Lenore. I
so
just we're both busy, and I always never find the time to really sit down and talk with her. But because both of us are so busy, and like she's one of the other ones that are genius level, like with some of the care for the sheep and the goats and all the species that I need to learn more about. Like I need to learn more about chicken care, and she is the one that I go to for that.
oh definitely because she went to Farm Sanctuary.
Oh yeah,
Susie Colton, she went up and learned from there, which
yeah,
again, you're going on the level of like, okay, Farm Sanctuary.
yeah,
They were her mentors, which is pretty cool. And then part of what I've learned from is listening to Gene Bauer from Farm Sanctuary talk and
yeah.
emceeing and introducing him and having dinner with him. And he stayed at my house, which is like really
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, because the first year for Triangle Vegfest 2014, he was our keynote speaker. So I picked him up at the airport. He stayed in my home. I took him to the event. He was like, "Do I have time to run before I speak?" And I was like, "You do whatever you want.
You're
You're
Gene
here."
Bauer.
So yeah, and that's part of the fun of what I do is that I get to meet so many people
Yeah.
and in a wide range of things that they do within the vegan community in the plant-based world. And that makes me very fortunate because I made incredible friends And that's also made this a little easier because I have a wealth of people that I can tap into to come live and do this, which is, I'm very thankful for. Even some of them are so busy that I've extended them out, but there's
Yeah.
some amazing people that are like, hey, okay, I'll go live.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And this is fun for me because it gives me something to look forward to every week outside of just, I mean, my days go by like that, which
Yeah.
is only because I'm introverted and being home is not a stretch. So, right. I mean, the biggest
Yeah.
difference now is I don't have an event going on but otherwise I was home or I was traveling for the events. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't travel for the events until that's when that will happen again, hopefully. But now I'll just work on a virtual one.
Yeah.
But please share with people how they can find you, how they can donate to you, and everything. Please share.
Sure, sure. So here's something I want to mention. There's two things really that's coming up for us at Cotton Branch. We are doing a virtual event with Dr. Priya Nayak, who I love. I've known her for years, and she is doing a talk on Zoom with us. It's a $6 registration fee. It goes straight back into the animals, and that's this Sunday at 6 p.m. So if the links it's all over my Facebook page, so you
Mm-hmm.
can just go to Cotton Branch's Facebook page or any other social that we have out there. There will be a link for that. The other thing I want to mention is Giving Tuesday, which typically is in November. They're doing what is called Giving Tuesday now, and a lot of organizations that I work with that I know are doing this, and we're doing this as well. This Tuesday, we are going to encourage everyone to give to nonprofits because this is an unprecedented time and they need help. All of us need help. All of us need that extra money to get us through the summer. We don't know what's going to happen in the summertime, so we need funds to kind of prepare for whatever is on the horizon. So we will be doing that. We already have a fundraiser set up on Facebook, and it's our sustainability. I can't even say it now. Sustainability fund for the summer, and that's going to be our initiative for Giving Tuesday. But if you don't want to participate in either two of those initiatives, you can always go to cottonbranch.org. You can give there, or you can give on Venmo at Cotton Branch, PayPal.me/cottonbranch. Or you can also check, which is on our website as well.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, really important. That sounds really cool about the Giving Tuesday. I mean, every day is a giving day.
Yes.
You can't be afraid to ask for money if you want to run a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So, and I'm all for asking for money for everybody else. So
Yeah.
those kittens and the cat that that were saved, recently I've been posting videos about.
Yeah.
We've
So
gotten decent donations for them, so they'll be taken care of, which
that's
is
great.
yeah, it's amazing because, well, in the industry, cats and dogs, they're the top.
Yeah.
So let's not forget about the pigs and the cows and the chickens and the ducks and the lambs and the goats and everybody else that is worthy of your funds to help and survive at all these sanctuaries, especially one like Cotton Branch, one
Yeah.
that would take in 250 pigs so they'd survive the winter.
Yeah.
Just think about that when you're thinking about where I want to, like, I have some extra $1,200 that you're still working and you want to donate it to a cause, then this is definitely one that can be tops on your list.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be saying that like each time because I absolutely adore and love all of you that
Thank you.
I've connected with, and hopefully I'll be able to help you with Columbia Vegfest
Yeah.
when that comes up, because Columbia is its own
Own thing.
weird city. Yes.
Yeah.
If it was like a regular city, I would totally be like, yeah, but you know what, you guys, you totally get the everything's handwritten and there's no computer
Everything.
system, and
Everything. Yeah.
yes, that made it a harder sell for me to. You have to boots on the ground is one thing, but you have to physically be there to make sure they had approved our date and I never heard anything. So
That's like them. That's Columbia
yes.
for you.
Exactly. So that I'm there to advise or help, and you
Yeah.
have a whole bunch of people, Julia at Charlotte Veg Fest, who are right there with you with
Yeah.
anything that you want to do.
Oh, I
So
will be picking your brain. No joke.
it more
After we get the all clear to even have it, I will be picking your brain for sure.
yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I find them to be a lot of fun to organize and to work with all the businesses
Yeah.
is a pleasure actually. And obviously our goal now is to get everyone through so they can come to the events and do them
Yes.
again. So that'll be
Yes.
neat. But I really appreciate you taking the time and
Yeah.
send our best to Josh, even though we didn't get to
Yes.
see him. That's
Yes.
okay.
I know. I know. He's running around with syringes. So it's farm life for you. So he's not done yet. So sorry, y'all.
It's the you running around with scissors,
Yeah.
farm sanctuary wise.
Yeah.
Well, very
Yeah.
cool. I'm glad that we got to do this, and I look forward to seeing you in person. And I know
Yes.
I'll see you all over social media. So thank you
Awesome.
everyone for watching, and we will see you soon.
All right. Thank
Bye.
y'all. Bye, y'all.